more than just wellness. The festive season is on our doorstep, and you know what that means. It's time to unbuckle your belt and to load your plate with some yummy festive food. Now, we're talking about this morning, how to not feel as stuffed as the yummy roast that you will be eating this festive season. We're talking about indigestion, heartburn, and even bloating this morning with Dr. Darren Green in our studio. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Let's get into it. I mean, what are the symptoms? There must be some chemical suggestion behind indigestion.
Yes, I think the word indigestion refers to discomfort and a whole lot of things that arise as a result of having a digestive system that is not in harmony.
Yes.
So it lets you know it's not in harmony by giving you basically symptoms of bloating. You feel swollen. You also have abdominal cramping. You can even get things like reflux and heartburn and those type of things. But generally, it tells you that the matrix has been disturbed by your habit.
Yes.
And it's brought about by a sudden change in the environment as to your change in eating habits, for example, the volume you eat, the stretching of the stomach, the increased acid production, and how that all acts on the types of food you're eating, which you're not used to. And that then results in so many different health problems. It's scary.
Okay, well, it is scary, and we're talking about it so that you don't have to be scared. 083-9133-728. So 083-9133-728 if you want to give us a call this morning and maybe talk about it. Heartburn, bloating, and even indigestion. But when we talk about people with diabetes,
yes,
what's the result of overeating when you have diabetes?
The big problem with diabetes is obviously regulating your blood sugar levels. So type 1 diabetes, your body doesn't make enough insulin. Type 2 diabetes, you make insulin, but you're insulin resistant and your response to the insulin is impaired. So when you are eating, you spike your blood sugar levels, and especially when you overeat, you don't have a sustained slow release of your low GI foods, for example. You have these spikes in sugar. It's like having major sources of sugar and chocolate spiking the blood sugar level, and then when it dips, you feel worse than you did beforehand. That compounded with alcohol and things like that we combine with our food over this festive jolly season.
I was going to ask you about that. What about alcohol combined with a lot of food or overeating? Yeah,
well, you must imagine alcohol and food, when you mix the two, they cause a lot of fermentation. That rotting process occurs in the gut, releases a lot of gas, which gives you flatulence and that uncomfortable feeling.
See, no one can say that without having a giggle, right?
Exactly. We've all been there. We know what it's like. It's uncomfortable.
Again, 083-9133-728 if you want to ask Doctor questions this morning about indigestion. I mean, perhaps you want to eat a really big meal because it's Christmas, right? And then you want to take a little nap. Isn't that a good thing?
The maagie vol oogjes too, yeah. 5 different meats, 3 different starch.
The gammon and tongue and turkey.
People love riding that way.
What happens when you go to bed?
I think the problem is firstly we're emotional eaters. So we eat to console ourselves, we use it as a crutch. And over Christmas we feel so happy and jolly, and then the wine is flowing that we lose track of how much we've actually eaten.
We're going to take a call right now. Rorita on the line, you're live on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso. What's your question or comment to Doctor?
My question is, I suffer with heartburn every day. Although I eat the dieting food, all dieting food, but I do suffer with heartburn. And I don't eat Indian food at all. So even though I eat dairy products, I still suffer with heartburn. I can drink cold drinks, I still suffer with heartburn. So what do I do there?
Okay, thanks, Risa, for your question. Appreciate it. So what does she do?
Yeah, so heartburn is a symptom where you feel like your esophagus is on fire, basically, and it's caused by acid, basically, refluxing from this tummy back into the esophagus as it rises. And it often happens when you sleep and you lay down flat after having a big meal with a lot of gastric content. It's not always dependent on the type of food you eat, although that can worsen it, things like spicy foods, tomatoes, etc. But it's also dependent on the frequency of your meals, but also things like smoking, alcohol use, etc. That all adds to the symptomatology of heartburn. What's important here is that she will need to have a look at whether the valve that seals off the stomach from the esophagus is actually leaking or not, because she could be having a reflux disease, and that would mean that she'd have to go onto some medication to block the acid pumps. Typically we call them PPIs, proton pump blockers or inhibitors. And then obviously they can do a gastroscopy with a camera and go and look and see, does she have a dysfunctional valve, or does she have a peptic ulcer or something like that?
Okay, well, we're getting all the advice on our Feel Good Breakfast show this morning. I also want to talk about indigestion combined with speaking, because that's also something that it can affect. But all of that and more still coming up on your Feel Good Breakfast show. So stay with us. Graham, over to you.